Good day, YouTube. It's Kelly again, getting ready to do another video with my good friend Chuck Joyner. Now, Chuck builds rifles. He's been a long time rifle man, and for those of you who don't know, Chuck is going to explain to us the intricacies of the rifle that he has built and how to use said rifle. Now, this is a flintlock, I do believe. Let me turn it around. Get it on, Chuck. All right, Chuck.
Okay, this is a flintlock rifle. The ignition of the powder was used for several hundred years until about 1840, when a Methodist preacher by the name of Forsyth invented the percussion cap. And then it worked so well that people didn't like what they call the rock lock. They use a rock. It uses a rock to hit this frizz in here that causes a spark, causes the powder in here to go off, which fires the powder in the barrel. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure out, since this is only a 32 caliber, we're going to put a little lubrication or grease.
Okay, and that stuff's called boar butter.
And then it's on I usually use pillow ticking, since that's about the right thickness.
Now, pillow ticking is what you might think of as a pillowcase. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly right.
Pillowcase, old style pillowcase, not one of those nylon ones. Yeah, not the old nylon, Krylon, whatever that stuff is. Don't use polyester.
Okay, we'll grease that patch up, and then the first thing we'll do now before we put the ball in there is we'll measure out with this powder horn here that I've had for about 50 years. We'll measure out in this 32 caliber. We'll measure out about 18 grains of powder. 18 grains of powder.
Now, somebody out there in YouTube land is going to say, hey, you're using a shell casing instead of one of those little measuring deals. But the shell casing holds how much you need it to hold.
That's exactly right. Okay. And my powder horn just broke loose, so I'm going to take it off and lay it down so we won't set off any powder.
Okay.
And
so now this particular rifle that you got that you're going to shoot today, you built yourself by hand.
Yes. Yes.
From start to finish.
We still got plenty of powder in there. You pour that down the barrel. That's why it's called a breech loader. I mean a front end loader. Breech loader, of course, loads from the breech. But now we're
so this is a muzzle loader. So you load it in the end of the muzzle.
And this is small, what they call a
looks like a ball.
A P-bore. This is a 32 caliber ball. Daniel Boone's famous rifle, he named Old Tickler, was actually a 29 caliber, which is smaller than that, lighter than a 22 bullet.
Wow.
So we're going to lay this greased patch that we greased earlier across the top of that barrel, and we're going to put that ball down in that cloth. And I'm going to take a plastic hammer just cause it's easier that way, and we're gonna tap that down flush with the barrel.
So that's the way to load a muzzle loader.
And we take that, and we take a sharp knife, and we cut it off flush. You can see, barely see the ball there, but that's wrapped around it. And then I've made what's called a short starter. It starts the ball down the barrel.
So that's just a dowel with a ball on top of it.
And I'm going to use this steel rod rather than wood rod because the wood rod is too fragile. Slide it right down against the powder.
And this is the first outing that this rifle has had, isn't it?
Yes.
This is
the first round. Okay, now then.
All right, on to the interesting part.
We take this little horn here. It has a real fine grained powder in it, and we're going to put it here in the pan. Just doesn't take much, just a little.
Okay, so if you'll notice, there's a real small pan,
and
right in there. It's full of powder.
Close that down on it, and it closes, seals it in there.
There is a flint right here in the top, so this is a flintlock. All right.
Okay, we're gonna give it a try.
All right.
And there's a set trigger, so you set that back trigger, and it's ready to fire.
All right.
Well, that's what's called a flash in the pan.
A flash in the pan. I like it.
So what we got to do is we got to make sure that the flash hole is clean. So we take that and we punch that in there.
Okay, so there's a little bitty hole in the side of that pan.
And inside the barrel.
That goes through the barrel, and that's what ignites the powder that's behind the ball and the greased up patch. So if that gets clogged up, which we shot it for the first time just a few minutes ago, this will actually be the second shot that this rifle was made.
A little more powder in the pan.
So when this ignites this powder, it sends the fire into the hole, and then that's what ignites. I'll try to get this relatively close while he's doing this so you can see what's going on.
Here we go. We're going to give it another shot. Went off that time.
It did go off that time. I'm pretty sure I got powder burns on my forehead, but
yeah,
that's okay.
That's what happens.
Don't stand next to the flintlock when it's about to go off.
Next to the flintlock.
Hey,
the powder,
we did it for educational purposes.
Powder comes out that little hole too.
All right, so now you've seen it. Now you've had a cool lesson in flintlock and muzzle loading with Chuck Joyner, and he doesn't share all this knowledge with everybody. So we appreciate it, Chuck. We'll be putting this one up a little later tonight. So thanks for watching.